Welcome to ChemOrbis. In this session I want to talk about the Europe market update for polypropylene. We will start first with the general outlook, talk about supply demand of the region, talk about prices both at regional level and at global level, and have a look at the margins and a nice comparison between West Europe prices and China prices. To talk about the general outlook, I will use the latest weekly analysis for polypropylene for Northwest Europe. We can read together the highlights. For example, the title is self-explanatory: European PP players eye renewed discounts in July. In Northwest Europe, the PP market continued to fall in tandem with slowing demand and comfortable supplies. Trading activities were thin, partly due to bank holidays, which kept many players out of the market. Spot PP prices were reported lower on the week at 1120, 1230 euro per ton for PP homopolymer and 1180, 1280 euro per ton for PP block copolymer free delivered. Players in general report that there is a prevailing weakness in their end product business and they have a bearish expectation for the next month. On the supply side, no major concern or issue is reported for both the monomer production or the polypropylene production. For the outlook, we can say that the players expect demand to remain weak during the remainder of June, while supply is reported to be loose, with no concern given to the full capacity rates at European plants. Accordingly, PP prices may post new decreases in July, although spot propylene prices found some support from the late restart of some producers' crackers in the region. Using the Price Wizard analytical tool, I have made a graph showing the price of PP, block copolymer and homopolymer for the last 52 weeks, being the current week, the latest data will be published. And you can see that over last year, 2016, the prices were more or less stable within, of course, volatility, month, weekly, and so on. Whereas with the new year, it started to ramp up, achieving a maximum around mid of April and then starting to go down. Okay. But to understand what's happening in other markets, I will use another analytical tool called Product Snapshot. So the table reports us what's happening in terms of feedstock and monomers and polymer prices in all the regions that we report them week over week. So this is the current week, the week of the 12th of June versus the previous week. This is the change in absolute term and this is the change in percentage terms. We can see that there is weaknesses on the fixed side, whereas if we move down to the polymer side, we can see wherever we report them global level, there are opposite trends. Some in red show weaknesses, like for example in Europe and in other markets, whereas in other markets you see an upward trend. The other interesting data you see is also the absolute value of the prices that we report. So you can see that in China versus Italy or Northwest Europe, the price level is very different, absolute term. We will use later on a graph to show you better what I mean. But the interpretation is that if Europe prices stay higher than other markets, of course they become a favorite export region for the suppliers. With the Product Snapshot, I can also look at the 52 weeks prices, not week over week. So I will click on report and see what's happening. And we have the same situation for the feedstock and monomers and the polymer prices. So we have the current week price, the change versus the previous week, the 52 weeks history, the volatility within the time frame, and where the price that we report this week is standing between this range. Very interesting, you see that the feedstock are all weak and close to minimum. Whereas in some cases you see that polypropylene price is already touched bottom and starting to recover, like in China, whereas in Northwest Europe the trend is still downward. Still using the Price Wizard tool, I have plotted a graph which shows the propylene price of the last 52 weeks versus the polypropylene homopolymer price. I can also show the delta between the two series of data, and basically you get the margin. And the margin, even if the downward trend is in act, you can see is not so bad. Huh? It's not so bad. It was critical here at this stage when in March, end of March, the producers were under pressure, so that's why the prices stay stable. But now the propylene, the monomer price is going down, making the margins healthier and relieving the pressure from the producers to maintain high prices. Using again the price wizard, I want to show you the plot of the price of Europe versus China, both import and domestic. Interestingly, you see over the last 52 weeks, you see that even after China New Year, the prices never recovered for polypropylene homopolymer in China. So it is a downward trend since 4 or 5 months now. Whereas in Europe it peaked around end of April and it started to go down. Why I show you this is because China market is a reference for all the other markets together with other important markets like Southeast Asia and Turkey, and what happens there is influencing sooner or later what happens in our region. So you can understand what will happen in the future if you look at China prices. So question is, have the China prices started to recover in this period? So beginning of June, first half of June, have they touched the bottom? Will they recover? So if that is the case, we can see the same recovery much sooner also in Europe. We are talking about downward trend in July for Europe, and that will certainly be the case. But the recovery, the touching of the bottom, may start much sooner if China start to go up again, because going up again in China means the imports attractive again for China and less interesting for Europe. Therefore, Europe will be tight, and of course the prices will start to go back. Of course, there are many other factors that can influence, but this is a nice interpretation of what can happen. With this, now I'm finished. It was a very fast tour through the polypropylene world. And if you have questions or you want to try yourself our services, please write to me or write to your ChemOrbis representative. Thank you for your attention.